Well, good afternoon. My name is Chris Oppenheimer, and this is Real, Raw, Authentic. And I want to introduce to you one of my new friends, Josh Hani. And I met Josh a few months ago at a med spa, and he was doing video work, and we had a conversation, and it transpired. So, Josh, thank you for being here. This is podcast number 5 for us.
Thank you for having me.
And absolutely. And I met Josh. He's 19 years old currently, right?
Yes, sir.
And I was very impressed when I met him. And this kind of goes back into why I started this podcast, because I remember being 19 years old. I'm 51 now. And I went to college, and I dropped out my junior year. I wasn't very successful in college at all. I didn't do well. It wasn't my passion. It wasn't my bliss.
What did you study when you were there?
I went for architecture, and that's what I loved. But when I got into all the maths and sciences and everything else, it took the joy away.
Yeah.
So
it felt more like work.
It was work.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that was a conversation we had. And, first, I just want to thank Josh, because I've wanted to start a podcast for many years. And I've spoken into the universe. I've talked to people about it. I mentioned it. But I mentioned it to Josh in standing that day. And a few weeks later, he calls me and says, "Hey, man, I bought all the equipment. You ready to start this podcast?" Yeah. And I was like, And that's when I realized that this guy's following his bliss. It doesn't matter your education, how old you are, what you know. You self-taught everything. What was that like?
Yeah.
And what was that like for you?
So when I was 13, I started a YouTube channel with my buddy. It's my roommate now. We're still really good friends. And we kind of just did content. And I started off with a little, I actually have it here. My first camera here was this little GoPro here. It was this right here. That was it. That's all I started with. It was a $200 camera. That's all I could afford.
How old were you?
I was 13.
13 years old.
We started a landscaping gig around 12 years old, and I was mowing lawns, and that's how I was able to afford this. And then I mowed enough lawns to buy that, and then we just kind of upgraded to where eventually I had all the gear. But at the very beginning, we had I was mowing lawns to get money in order to save up for all the gear. And so the camera that this one is on is my first camera. And then that was an upgraded version when I started making money from the media marketing. But at the beginning, I made squat zero. I did everything for free. So I filmed all my stuff for free. Right out of high school, I decided, I don't want to go to college. It's not really for me. I didn't even try it out. I didn't even want to try it out. All my friends were going to college, and I saw everybody was getting into debt. You know what I mean? Everybody was going into debt to get a piece of paper. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to.
So let's talk about that piece of paper real quick, because that's really big in our marketplace today.
Yeah.
And I really feel like it was my generation was the first generation that were even asked to get student loans. I never took one out. My parents paid for it. I paid for it. I worked a side job so I could pay for my college. And that's where it kind of ended for me, because I was like, I'm putting all this money in and I'm not even happy.
You have to work you don't even get paid to work. You have to work to pay for college. Like, you do a bunch of work and you pay for it. And I just didn't get that. I didn't understand why I'd have to pay to do mindless work that I didn't like, and I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of people, but to me, it just made sense. Like, I would just rather be putting all my time, energy, and effort into a company like this that I really love and enjoy, and that I can make money from, instead of putting all my money and effort into a degree.
And Josh just said a company like this, and a company like this is a company you created on your own. You have your own company, and this is what you do.
Yeah.
And this is your passion, and you didn't go to school. And we're not here to bash college or tell people not to go to college.
Yeah, if anything, I'd recommend it.
I would recommend it too. I wasn't smart enough in that area. I'm a people person, and I've been in sales my whole life, and I got into nutrition, and now I'm in the legal cannabis space. And, and life just keeps evolving as long as we're allowing ourselves to. But, we talk about, and you hear in society, people are wanting their student loans forgiven.
Yeah.
And that rises up in me, and I'm sure it does you, because you've spent thousands of dollars in equipment. You could have gone to school, but you spent it to start a business.
Yeah.
I started a business when I dropped out of college, and I became a distributor for a vacuum cleaner company. And I had one of the biggest distributorships in the world at one point. And that was how I cut my teeth in learning. And And I just commend you, but I commend your parents, because I've asked you, what did your parents think
they were
when you
kinda
weren't going
hard
to school?
Yeah. They were kind of hard on me in the beginning. They really wanted me to go to college. My mom's a vice principal at home, so that's kind of like, she was dead cut on me going to college. They spent a lot of money getting into the right area for our education to where we'd go to college. And I mean, I was just like, throughout high school, I just mind my own. I didn't like talking to a whole lot of people in high school. I didn't really do a whole lot of stuff in high school. I mean, obviously I had my like really good group of friends, but I mean, when it came to school and doing the actual work, I was on my phone, looking at the stock market or doing business stuff in school, and I just didn't really like that. And so I like to say a lot more, like, actions speak louder than words. I hear everybody, people that I talk to now, they're all talking about these big, great business ideas, how they're going to start this huge this huge company. It doesn't have to be mortgage, but it's just these huge companies. And it's like, where are you going to get the capital for that? You know what I mean? You're going to take out a huge loan that you don't have any credit for. And it's just the logic behind it, instead of actually just getting started like at the very bottom and working your way up, is kind of past people nowadays, I feel like.
Well, what I find interesting is people go get their degrees and then they go looking for that job. Yeah. And it's like, but we need experience.
Yeah. And
well, like, where do you get your experience if you just spent all your time in college? It's a catch-22. And, most people that are in college are trying to get it done in 2 or 3 years now. Mm-hmm. And so they're not having time for a job. So we've really messed this all up ourselves, and it's time for all of us to become responsible for it all. And I think it starts with, first of all, following your passion. And I commend your parents, because they didn't push you to go to school. That was their attachment to you going to college. Just like I had an attachment to being the first Oppenheimer to have a college degree. Nobody in my family has a college degree. Think about that. Wow. And I wanted to be the first, and still not, So that's the beauty of life, is we can all be successful and do whatever we want in life. But the most important thing is we've got to follow our own passion. So here we are on podcast number 5. What's it been like? What's the experience been like as we've started to put this together? I'm excited. I'm having fun. What is it like for you?
It's definitely a different experience. I'm used to filming, 5-10 minute videos of YouTube videos, like vlogs, B-roll content, kind of more high quality video. So to switch it up to a 30-minute podcast, 20-minute podcast was kind of different for me. It was a little bit longer, not really longer editing, but more cuts throughout the editing. And I kind of like it, honestly, a lot more than the B-roll and stuff. It's a lot easier for me to edit. Podcast is, surprisingly enough, a 20-minute video, 20-minute podcast takes me about the same time to edit a 5-minute YouTube B-roll, like high quality video. So to be doing the podcast, it's nice. However, it does come with a lot of extra expenses, like these right here, these $1,000 microphones, the board right over here that we have.
But that's called an investment.
It is
into your business, into your future. And just like people getting a college degree.
Absolutely.
That's their investment into their future. Mm-hmm. And so when our government talks about removing student debt, let's remove all of our debts that have started companies, because that's the real thing that all of us want to do anyway, right? We don't want to work for somebody else. We want to work for ourselves. However, there's a lot of people that love to work for other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to need some editors to help you and your team. And, my business continues to grow. And where I am in life is I as a business owner, I'm not looking for a college degree. I'm looking for passion. I'm looking for intention, and I'm looking for reliability. Mm-hmm. And you've been all 3 of those things for me, Josh. So I look forward to the future. We've put out some really good content. We're going to. And, I just want everybody that's watching this podcast, if you know somebody that's going to college that isn't interested, they're always negative about it, maybe they're drinking too much, doing too many drugs on a weekend. I find that a lot of times we do those things. We self-sabotage ourselves when we're not happy. And so all I want people to do is get real, raw, authentic about their intentions in life. And let's start following our bliss. So Josh, do you have any final words to say to anybody out there that may be listening to this? That may have questions about life, college, not going? What would your advice to somebody your age be that's struggling with a parent, a friend, somebody telling them they need to do this, but they know in their heart that's not what they want to do? What would your best advice be to them?
I would just do whatever calls on you, really. I feel like, I like hunting and fishing. I do that for almost now a living. I do YouTube videos on it, and I do a bunch of stuff. So that's kind of what I wanted to do, was hunting and fishing. Obviously, that's not going to pay the bills completely, a YouTube channel like that, unless you have millions and millions of subscribers. So I kind of have done this, which is kind of revolved around what I've done YouTube-wise, and I post videos and stuff like that. So I still like it a lot, and it is my passion. But at like 13, my mom would say, I'm going to cut you off from editing YouTube videos because you need to study for school. I wasn't able to edit YouTube videos to study for school. And now, had I been able to edit the videos and post the videos around that time when YouTube was doing so well, I'd probably be a lot bigger than I am now. But I wasn't able to stay consistent on posting because school got in the way. So honestly, don't let anything get in the way. Just do what you want to do in life and do what your passion is. And the money will follow eventually. I worked for free for 3 years. I did YouTube videos for free for 3 years. Finally, YouTube started paying me, and then finally I got clients based around YouTube. I have a gun shop now. I have a med spa. I have Botany Scientifics, or Real, Raw, and Authentic, the podcast. So it just kind of all evolved. And also I had a landscaping company too, if you want to.
So Josh, let's go back to landscaping, because a lot of people, that's their first thing they do. I mean, I was 12 years old and I bought my first lawnmower, and I cut yards, and that's when you cut a yard for $10. You know what I'm saying? And if it was
Whatever
a real big yard, you're lucky to get 20. And, but I wanted to buy my own 10-speed, and my dad and mom offered to buy my sister and I a 3-speed. But if I wanted a 10-speed, I had to go out and buy it. And I learned at a very young age that I needed to work for the things that I want in life. Mm-hmm. And I realized, knowing you, that that's exactly what you've done as well. And you started in landscaping, and I've heard some of your stories. It wasn't your passion.
Yeah.
But you did it because you had to, for a short period of time, to be able to do the things that you want to do. And that's the lesson all of us need to learn in life, is we may not like what we're doing. One of my mentors once told me, get really good at what you don't like doing in life, and everything else is a piece of cake.
So I actually had a full LLC. We did the whole landscaping, and I was mowing yards for the camera gear and stuff like that. And I remember when I stopped it, I completely stopped doing the landscaping because, I had some money in my bank and I wanted to do YouTube full time. So I stopped, and my money started slowly dwindling down, and I was filming a YouTube video for my second channel. I have 2 channels personally. And my camera fell and broke everywhere. And I had like $800 in my bank account. I didn't even have enough money to buy another camera. And so I took my jar of coins I had $300 in coins, and I deposited it. And then I bought the camera that y'all are watching on now. And I bought that camera with the very little money I had. And then I had like maybe $10 in my bank account. And then the next week I landed the gun shop client, which pays me $200 something every week or whatever. And then, so I landed that client, and then that was it for me. I was able to save and save and save and save and save. And then eventually I was able to get another client and move out. And it was just kind of top. And
so basically it's a journey.
Yeah, it is. You never know.
And what happens is I think a lot of times people get into college, they get a job because they want to make the money. Oh, they're paying $15 an hour. They're paying $20 an hour. We become a society that we've been taught to chase money instead of chasing our dreams.
Yeah, I feel like you don't be afraid to change paths. You know what I mean? I had something really good going. I was making like $30,000. I was doing $30,000 in sales a month.
Wait, let's stop there. $30,000 a month. How old were you then?
19.
19 years old, and he didn't love what he was doing.
Yeah, so I stopped it. Yeah.
So how many people listening right now are doing something they do not enjoy?
A lot. A lot of people.
And so I've changed careers 3-4 times in my adult life. They say the average person changes careers 8 times. My suggestion is, if you don't like the energy, the vibe, if you're being forced to do things to your body that you don't want to do at a job, that's not your passion. That's not where you're supposed to be. And it's concerning to me, Josh, because over the last couple of years during the pandemic, a few years ago, everybody was like online, oh, I'm going to change. This is my time to slow down and, reevaluate and go a different direction. And it's interesting to see not everybody, it's interesting to watch a lot of people just get back into the same old routine that they are or were before.
People don't want to change.
They don't want to change.
Yeah.
Talk is easy.
Yeah.
So you talked about changing and you actually did it. So what was that transition like?
It was very hard. So, you get comfortable making that kind of money. And I mean, I wasn't making $30,000 a month every month, but the amount of stress I was under was horrible. I didn't like it at all. I wasn't able to enjoy time out or anything like that. So I was doing like 4 a.m. to midnight every day with the landscaping, and like it's hard labor. And obviously I had guys working for me, but I don't want to watch them do the work. So I do the work too. And I stopped that. And when I transitioned over, I actually worked at a processing place, like a deer processing place, like nasty, dirty. And that was for a client I have now. So, I mean, I kind of like that because I do like hunting and fishing and stuff like that, but it was very dirty and long hours. And so I ended up quitting that and just decided to do YouTube like only. And that transition was pretty hard because my parents were like, "Yo, what are you going to do? You don't have landscaping anymore. What are you going to do?" So once I closed my first client and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to move out. Like I got enough money now to move out." It was like after the second client I closed that I was able to like really move out. And then they were like, "Oh, okay." Like, and then finally I moved out and they were like, took me serious. Like, I'm out of here now. Like I have enough money to afford because of YouTube, and my clients now are paying me enough to where I can do that now. And so it was kind of like uplifting for me. And so I just wanted to keep going. And now I'm about 8 months in and I still have the same clients I had 8 months ago. So,
well, and that's the value is relationships. And Josh, that's why I really enjoy working with you. And it's been a privilege to create this podcast, and the best is really yet to come as far as what we're creating, because my passion is just being real, raw and authentic. We've hidden so much under the rug through the years. And I commend you because I think why I relate to you so well is there's a lot of similarities of my growing up and being entrepreneur minded, having the big vision, wanting to do the things. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many times my parents, my dad especially, he used to call me and say, "Son, when are you going to get a real job?"
My mom always says that to me. Yeah.
I mean, and
she still says that to me.
But you know what?
She's like, "Why don't you just go get a real job?"
That's just the way people are trained. Yeah. We grant them grace just like they've granted us grace. And I'm living proof that you will be a success if you follow your dreams. Mm-hmm. And it's not always going to be pretty. Not everybody's always going to believe in your dreams, your vision. That's in you. Yeah. But what you did to get to where you are, I commend you. And the best is really about to happen, because we're bringing people in. And I've seen a tear in your eye a few times hearing some of these stories. I mean, I wish I could have had stories like this to listen to when I was 19 years old. What is that like for you?
It's crazy. So as y'all know, I do the video work here. So y'all have seen recent podcasts, and so Chris brings a lot of people on, a lot of friends and family that he has, and he talks with them real raw and authentic, and he really brings out the other side that people don't really see on online. And so that was pretty impactful for me because I've never seen anything like that. And the stories that he shares online is like something that I've never seen before. And so that's why we're starting to do so well, is because he's really bringing out the other side of people, and like really bringing out, because people are having these real problems, online, and no one shares it.
Well, they share what they want to share, but nobody is having a conversation to make them feel like, okay, I got this. I am just, we are more alike than not. Yeah. We're going to get through this. And, I've been blessed to be a blessing, and all I want to do is impart that into the world. And so, Josh, thanks you for capturing my vision. Yes. And I know that, we just wanted to talk about this today, but I felt it appropriate because we've done 4 podcasts. This is our number 5. Our next podcast our next few are going to be interesting because there's going to be some interesting experiences. So stay tuned, but we look forward to all the possibilities. So Josh, thanks for who you are. And
Thank you for having me on.
I just know that you've inspired a lot of people your age to follow their dreams and passions. So thank you.
Thank you.